Yeah, so I think that Shivani can kind of get into all the details, but we're really excited and grateful Shivani could be here because in the last few years, the State Library responded, I think, because of legislation, but also because there was a huge need identified by grant seekers all across the state to have a unified place where folks could go to seek out what grants were available from the state. Previous to that, it was a lot of agencies with their own websites, and you kind of had to dig through everything to figure out what was available. So this is a really awesome tool that we've been pointing folks towards, and are glad that we have some time for Shivani to give a demo of today. Sorry, it happens every time. And we're, gonna have some time for a demo, and then also an opportunity for you all to walk through it and kind of try seeking things out yourself. And Shivani will be here through noon to be able to kind of help out and troubleshoot anything too. So thank you again, Shivani, and take it away.
Thank you so much for your team to allow us to come and introduce this tool to all of you. We want to make sure that this is an experience that you come in, an easy experience to be able to find what you're looking for. So I'm going to actually share my screen. I'm going to switch between two screens. One, I'm going to have a presentation just to kind of give you a background on what is the grants portal, how did it come about, what we put into it for the time that we were given via the legislation, and then moving into the actual tool, which is what you all are here to really see and learn how it works. And then we'll go over a couple of examples. I'll show you how to search for grants, and where to find different types of grants. And then if you have any questions, feel free to put them in chat. Kelly, who's also with California State Library, is here to support me. So if, she knows the answer, she'll definitely respond, or at least help me not miss one of your questions. And because we're a very small group, feel free to raise your hand as well. We want to hear from you as well. So, and again, like we said, we'll be here to answer any questions at the end as well. So, and once you try it out. So, all right, let's get started. I'm going to share my presentation for a bit, and then we'll move over to actual fun stuff. All right, so Coral mentioned that this legislation, there was a legislation, it was AB 2252 that really introduced this website to the California State Library to build a central location for all grant and loan opportunities. There is a specific definition around what is being added by the state agencies in this portal. So it is anything that is competitive and first come award process, including loans and federal assistance funds. It does not have procurement of goods and services that the state agencies do for construction, alterations, improvements, all those different things. So there's a specific definition around that. So it doesn't mean that it has all grant opportunities. It has all competitive and first come award process. So there might be some non-competitive that are based on disaster relief or others that might not be in the portal. So that's kind of the definition that state agencies are following. We were given, 1 year timeline to kind of also understand and discover what are the needs and challenges and opportunities around grant making in the state. Because the state didn't really have any data set around, how many grants there are, who gives it out, how much. So we had to do a lot of discovery with state agencies as well as the grant seekers just to kind of understand what is the lay of the land and what's the universe before we got started. So we spent the first half of it really focusing on making sure that we can learn from our audience, right? Our users. So our users are the state agencies and the grant seekers who are coming in to look for those grants. So we're kind of like the median of, marrying the two and trying to make sure that all the information is out there in a standard and cohesive way. The legislation also has a very specific guideline around grant seekers have to still go to the department's website to read the guidelines, read the RFP or RFA or NOFA, and then apply through the portal of whatever the state agency has. So this portal is not like a grants.gov where you have application and you apply it and then everything is in one place. This is only a vehicle to bring the information as central place from the beginning so that you can then see what you're eligible for in like 20 minutes that you spend on the portal and 25 minutes or so, your organization can kind of whittle down what you're eligible for and see everything under that umbrella, and then go to the department's website and apply, right? So you don't have to jump around different departments' website to try to find what you might be eligible or your organization might be eligible for. So that's kind of the goal of this is. So in keeping that goal in mind, the legislation also had a directive around what data elements are required. And so there had to be a standardized, cohesive way that state agencies are really displaying the information. Otherwise, it wouldn't really work if everyone was like, I'm writing this and I'm writing that. So you'll see when I show you the portal, things that are asked are pretty much standard, right, from all state agencies. And they can put a lot of information in there, and I'll go over a little bit more when I show you the portal. One of the things our major mission and goal in this project during the development was really keeping user-centered design approach, meaning that we put ourselves in a user's perspective and also ask the users what works, what doesn't work. The portal isn't for us. It's really is the users who are, are able to drive this entire portal, whether those are state agencies or the grant seekers. So keeping that in mind, even after the development and when the portal went live July 1 of 2020, we have continued doing feedback sessions. So we do quarterly feedback sessions with the grant seekers and grant makers, where we talk about, how their experience has been. Are there other technical changes they would like to see? What are desires and needs that they might have once they've actually worked on this portal? The grants portal is open source. We are actually very, very close. Can't make the announcement yet, but it's very close in being open source, meaning it is open for other, states or cities or anyone else to look at our code if you're a little more tech savvy and want to know. Our data is all open, so you can actually download a CSV of all the data, and it's updated every 24 hours. So we try to make sure that all the data that is being given is transparent and is out there. We have a statistics dashboard that is updated every 24 hours with all the data that is open as well. So I'll show you all of those different things in a bit. So let's jump over to actual portal. So let me share my screen with the portal. So the website for the portal is grants.ca.gov. So pretty close to grants.gov, which is the federal portal. So this is the grants.ca.gov. This is the homepage. When you actually go to the website, you'll see the top of the homepage has, or actually the entire homepage has a lot of different ways and entry points that you could use based on what you like. The first is obviously filling out this sentence, right? Who are you? If you are a nonprofit, you are a tribal government, you are a public agency, you're just an individual. So what kind of applicant type are you? Then you can select the categories we have. So we have around like 19 categories. We just split one yesterday. So now libraries and arts and parks and recreation is two separate things. Before they used to be one. So you can select a category that really falls, that meets your needs. And the categories are really broad for a reason. We didn't want to make it so overwhelming for someone to have to go nest by nest and like subcategory or, all those different. So it's very high level. So for example, if you're looking for a grant in, I'm just throwing it out there, let's say for something that's related to environment, you'll do environment and water. So everything is tagged with environment and water, gives you a broader search and filter, right? So sort of all the information. And then you can also pick a time frame. So if you're an organization that is in crunch and doesn't have the resources to fill an application that's due in a month, or in a week or something like that, you can select the time frame of when this application deadline you want to see. And you don't have to fill all three. You can pick two, and you can say, show me opportunities once you have selected it. One way of a filter what we have as an inventory on the portal. Then you also have resources here. You can look at our FAQs, which helps you give you an understanding, a general idea on any questions you might have. Glossary gives you an idea of what state agencies are, their definitions are for each of the data element. So that helps when you're looking at the actual detailed grant opportunity. Here's another way to enter in. So if you just want to look at the categories, you can just select any of the pictures with the category that you're interested in. You also can select the same way with the applicant type. So if you want to see everything under public agency, note that a lot of the state agencies tag their grant opportunities with multiple applicant type, multiple categories, right? So you might select environment and water, but you might have a grant that might be education as well. I don't know, right? So there could be a multiple one-to-many relationship there. And then you can also see recently posted. So what was, these are all 1 week old grant opportunities. So it gives you an update on how often the state agencies are adding grant opportunities. And then here's a small statistics on what's on the portal. So there's currently 119 grant opportunities that are active and forecasted, and I'll go over what the forecasted is in a minute. There are currently it's $19.6 billion in those grant opportunities available. So it gives you a little bit of a over high level statistics there. So let's say if you didn't want to just filter, you just want to see all 119 and then determine what you want to filter, right? So you would go to find grants, which is up on top. That gives you an entire inventory of 119 grants that are on the portal. Actually 917 now because I'll be updated. So here's the top bar where you'll be able to use keyword search. And if you want to know what keyword search can you put in, you can hit on the little question mark. It gives you an idea of what kind of keyword search. So just know, if you know a title of a grant opportunity that you either applied for previously or you know of, someone told you about it, so type in the title. If you are looking at a policy area like climate change, COVID-19, then you put those in there. Make sure that you're always putting in a keyword that is not just so narrow that the search can't find it, right? So if you guys have examples, I'm happy to search for them in a minute. And then you can also do filter again by agency. If you knew a department name, you can type in a department name, like for example, I'll just put forestry. It'll give you all forestry departments, and you pick the department. It will just give you the dump for all the grants in that department. You can always do category again, applicant type. You can also do disbursement method. So it could be a reimbursement, advanced, or both. But by default, you have forecasted and active selected. So you can unselect any of these, or you can select the closed ones just in case you want to see something that was previously added and has been closed, just to give you an idea for maybe a future ones coming in. You can also do, I don't want to see loan opportunities if your organization is not going to apply for them. So you can always make sure that your search is filtered so you don't see loans. And then you can also select opportunities that are requiring matching funds. So you don't want to see them. You can select this box. So let's go over what is forecasted grant opportunities and versus active. So active are those that are ready for application. So these are grants opportunities that are out and live, has RFP, RFA, NOFA out there by the state agency. They're accepting applications. Forecasted grant opportunities are volunteered by the state agencies. They can put in these opportunities just to give a planning a heads up for the grant seekers. So in other words, let's say there's a regulatory department who has a grant opportunity that goes out every year, right? It's annual. They can put in a forecasted grant opportunity to give you a heads up of any workshops that they might be conducting, any kind of help that they might be providing for that grant opportunity before it's live. So forecasted grant opportunity, just like I said, forecasted, right? So it's not open for applications yet. It does not have an RFP or RFA or NOFA. It is just information, right? For you to know that this grant opportunity might be coming out at some point. So gives you a better understanding of, to plan out your future months or, a year. So that's all the filters. So then down here are all the grant opportunities that are listed. So here you'll see active right on the side. And if it's a forecasted, it'll say forecasted. The first thing is deadline. So you could change the sorting on top. As you can see these arrows, you can sort them by ascending, descending order. And it tells you the state agency, if it has a matching fund, what is the estimated total funding amount for that grant opportunity? Estimated high low, which is the expected grant amount. And then it also gives you what kind of disbursement method, okay? But if you wanted to know a little bit more about this grant opportunity, you could just hit on more info instead of going to the page itself yet. And it will give you at least a purpose, what this grant is about, who's eligible for it, nonprofit and public agency in this case, and then if there are any geographic limitations or requirements, right? So it'll tell you right here anything that you need to know about geographically. And then it also tells you what kind of opportunity it is, if it's a grant or a loan. In this case, I didn't hit the do not show loans, so it's going to show you loans as well. Okay, so let's say I'm like, you know what, this opportunity sounds really interesting and I want to know a little bit more about this. This information here is too high level. So you click on the grant opportunity itself, takes you to the detail page of the grant. This is where you'll find all the details that helps you hopefully determine if you're eligible for it. Okay, description is the longest field for departments to make sure that they provide all the information about the grant opportunity. If there are any funding source notes or anything that the state agency wants to highlight, will be here as well. Same with the funding method. If it's advanced reimbursement, if there's any exceptions or anything else that they want to highlight. There's also other notes that you'll see. Once you figured all the information seems really good and you're ready to read the RFP, you will hit the grant guidelines. This link will take you to the department's website where you can read the detailed guidelines and then apply also. If you're in a need of, have questions or you need to, just figure out anything else that you might not gotten from all the information, per legislation, all departments are required to provide some sort of contact information. Okay, so they're required to at least provide a phone number and or email. Due to the pandemic, sometimes some phone numbers may not be, working because people were working from home or anything like that, but they have to have an email address and it has to be responsive. So this is who you contact if you had any questions or you wanted to know more about this grant opportunity. Okay. Any planned events, like I was mentioning about workshops and things like that, the state agencies are given an opportunity to publish their website page where they have all the events listed that you could attend workshops or public hearings or anything like that. You can also subscribe to their listserv about this grant and others from their department. And I'll also tell you a little bit about our subscription where you don't have to come to the portal all the time to find out what's new and or what is happening on the portal. Okay. So with that, I'm going to move over. Let's see if there's any major questions. Oh, thank you, Kelly, for sending all the links. Okay, so let's jump into a statistics dashboard. So about this site, when you click on this, you see an overview. So it tells you the background on the grants portal, any other questions that you might have about the grants portal itself. Statistics dashboard, when you click on it, it takes you to this visualization part. So this is where you'll see what has happened since July 1. So this number right here is since July 1, we've had, oops, sorry, clicked on it. Since July 1, 352 grants are on the portal, right? And it gives a breakdown of 92 active, 233 closed, and 27 forecasted, okay? And then it also tells you that if it has a deadline or it's ongoing, because there are some grants that are ongoing that don't have a deadline, right? And then total funding amount we've had since July 1. How many departments are putting in the grants as of July 1? If you were a lot, sorry, keep clicking on that. If you were very keen with numbers and want to know a little more details, you can always click on or hover over any of the department's bars, and you will see their inventory. Okay, this data is, again, you can download it from CSV, and I'll show you in a minute where that link is. You can also see the number of grant and by type. So how many grants have we had, how many loans, grants and loans together. There are solicitations that are both. So that gives you that number. And there's also a breakdown by applicant type. So you can see, again, as I mentioned, some of these might be multiple, so they're selected, multiple, so the numbers might be a little off because we have to count them twice. And then, like I was mentioning about the CSV, you can go to California Open Data Portal right here. The link will take you to where you can actually download the CSV about all of this data. And it's updated every 24 hours. So alongside with the statistical dashboard. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about subscription. So, everyone's busy and don't want to come to the grants portal every single day, try to search for it. Couple of things that you can do. One, you can subscribe to our subscription, which is daily or weekly. What it gives you is a digest of what's new. Okay, you can actually select from all new grant opportunities, all new, regardless of the category. So you'll get forecasted and active, or you can select a category that you're really interested in, or your organization only applies under that category. And you can get the newest and forecasted grant opportunities under that category. You will not receive a notification if there's no new grant opportunities. It's only when we have new grant opportunities added by the state agencies that you'll receive a notification. You can also sign up for our feedback sessions in the future to learn about what new features we've added, anything like that. You can subscribe there and you'll get a next notification for the next feedback session that we might be holding. So that's where the subscription is, and to get to it, it's on the corner or right-hand corner. It says subscribe. We also have different languages. You can translate this website. Again, note that once you leave our website to go to the department's website, it's not translated, but we do have translation. So you can, it's powered by Google, so you can select the language you like, and it will translate this site at least, and then once you leave this site, the translation loses. And then we also have contact us. We always are open for feedback, any changes that you thought of, be like, oh, this would be cool to add. If you have any of those suggestions, we are happily to listen to all of them and put them in our inventory. So here's the feedback survey that we're always continuously running. You can also contact us through here if you had questions or other suggestions. You can also contact us through our mailbox, which is cagrantsportal@library.ca.gov. We have provided some assistance for COVID-19 as folks were looking for resources, so those are also available on top. And I think that's pretty much it. If you are looking for FAQs and glossaries, you can, again, go under using this site. They'll show you the FAQs and glossaries as well. It's also on the homepage. Okay, so I am open for questions and for all of you to try out the site. We can actually go back to find grants and try a few keyword searches or anything like that you want me to show you guys.
All right, anyone have any questions? Do you want to start off?
I think it'd be great to just dive in and use it a little bit and see what questions come up.
Does that sound good to others? Anybody want to ask anything? You can also use the chat, so feel free as it's coming up. Otherwise, maybe folks want to just start giving it a shot and trying on their own. Shivani, do you have any recommendations as you start using the tool? Like if there are like example searches as folks get started? You gave a pretty comprehensive overview, so it might not be necessary.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just depends. And I was actually going to just show you all, you know, the keyword search that I was talking about. So keyword search only works for the text. So let's say if I put in COVID-19, what the system's going to do is going to pull everything that anywhere it says COVID-19, title, description, purpose. It's a text-based search. So let's say if I do COVID-19 and apply filter, you'll see that down here, these are the grants, even though this one doesn't say in the title, COVID-19, it has COVID-19 related text somewhere, right? So that's kind of the idea, is to keep it broad enough so that you can comprehensively find things, because we know that titles sometimes are all ambiguous and written differently. So it's not everyone's using a standard title from the state agencies. So just as an example, that's how, you know, keyword search works. And really just starting to search for things that you all have interest in, right? And seeing how you can play around with filters is the best way to kind of get used to. And if there are keyword search or anything that you want me to search and show you, I'm happy to do that as well.
I have a question. So I think there's been some funders that have been moving towards issuing grants to like coalitions or collaboratives. Are there ways in the keyword to search for which grants are only apply to people that are applying as part of a coalition?
If the state agency specifically lists that in any of their text, then yes. So if you put it in the search bar, I'm not sure what would be a phrase that would be, you know, comprehensive to that the state agency might use in their description or text. But if you search for it, if there is any mention of it, the system will pull it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sure, let's try greenhouse gas. So all of these grant opportunities are related to greenhouse gas reduction or greenhouse gas in general. So like, for example, Cal Recycle has one that is an ongoing grant opportunity that is a greenhouse gas reduction loan program. So again, they are pretty descriptive in saying it in their title that it's a loan, because I didn't take the loan part, you know, out on top. It tells you, you know, anywhere else, all of these grants somehow has greenhouse gas mentioned in their description or purpose or any other text. So that's why these are pulled from the system. So hopefully that's helpful. And then it also tells you right here, it's forecasted. So forecasters do not have deadlines because they're just information. They're not open for applications. So that's why you won't see deadlines on those.
And I wanted to just throw in, I think that's a really great question, Beatrice, because there is like there are a whole bunch of programs funded through cap and trade under the greenhouse gas reduction fund focused on that. But then there are also other funding sources that have come up, like depending on the year, like it might be through a bond, that are also focused on reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Right. So this is a good way to see all of them, not just the ones funded by cap and trade.
Correct. Thank you. Yeah, it's really is about making sure you guys get the full inventory of things, because you may miss something and it might be something that you might be eligible for but didn't know or didn't think you will be eligible for, right? It gives you that idea of like, okay, I need to look at all of these and maybe something in there that my organization might be able to apply that I didn't think about. And I just want to note that all state agencies are, so the grants are all state administered grants, regardless of the funding source. So in other words, it can be a state funded, it could be federally funded, could be both. It could be other funds. So the best way to find the funding source or the type of funding source that grant is related to, when you go to the detail of the grant, they are supposed to say right here, oops, where'd it go? Funding details, funding source. Right now it says both, which basically means state and federal. We are working on making sure it's a little more descriptive. So you're like, both as what, right? So we are working on that behind the scenes. That's one of our items that we're clarifying.
Awesome. Well, if folks don't have more questions right now, I think we can take the next 25 minutes to have it be like you walk through it on your own, and the next 25 minutes, Shivani and Kelly are available kind of like for TA, for technical assistance, support. If any questions pop up as you're trying to use the tool, so we can have it be some working time if that works for everybody. And then if you do have questions, feel free to chime in or drop it into the chat.
I'll go ahead and actually pause the recording for now. And if folks are joining us just for standard office hours, let me know. Feel free to chat me or feel free to speak up, and we'll split off into a separate breakout room and make sure we resolve any questions that you have.